Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mr. Paramo. I have a sub today, as you can tell. And I just wanted to highlight a few things because we took notes on this stuff. And I want to make sure that you remember what we talked about before you start your 5.2 worksheet. Your 5.2 worksheet is going to basically, it's going to look a little different or the same as what you've been seeing before. You're going to have tables and you're going to have equations. And so the very first couple of questions that it's going to ask is, can you tell if it's linear or exponential? And you have to decide that based off of the equation or a table. And so I wanted to remind you what we talked about last time. Well, how do you know if it's exponential? Is if there is a variable in the exponent. That's something that you're going to have to know. I didn't put quite here in a table, but I wanted to show you on this table that if you look at how these numbers go up, in a table, your dependent variable, you'll notice that these numbers, there's a pattern to it. I know it's exponential when these numbers, if I multiply by 2 and multiply by 2 and multiply by 2, if the numbers get bigger by the same common ratio. You can tell if something's exponential based off of how far apart these numbers are. Are they multiplied by 2? Are they always multiplied by 2? If so, it's exponential. If you're adding or subtracting, that's going to be something different. That's going to be linear. And that's something that you're going to have to know the difference of between 5.2 and 5.3. You are going to have to evaluate by plugging numbers in. I think you're going to do just fine with that. Don't freak out if you have a number that is like 1.07. I'm expecting you to use a calculator for things like this. Okay? You're going to punch in your calculator 60 times 1.07 to the, and you'll punch in the number 8, and I hope you know where that button is on the calculators. So if you're trying to get to an exponent, and I'm trying to do 1.07 to the, your button for the calculator is right here. It's this X with the little thing, with the little box in it. It creates that box, and you can punch in whatever number it is that you need to do there. And for this, I would actually even put the 60 in front. Times 1.07 to the 8th power. And then you're going to press equals and see what it is. And if you forget, don't forget, switch it to a decimal. Is this SD button right there. Okay, so we covered that. We also covered graphing. Some of these, when you start to graph them, they're going to be a little bit big. So if it goes off the chart, just draw an arrow. If it goes and gets super big, and I want you to try to plug in 3 to 5 numbers: -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2, just like we talked about doing here, making a table to make your graphs. There are a couple of word problems. Don't freak out about those. You're going to read these, and you're going to figure out what you're going to plug in. And the numbers are big, so you're going to need to use a calculator to figure out what 2,000 times 2 to whatever you're going to plug in for X for that problem. Same with this, 40,000 times 1.05 to some power, and you'll figure out what it is. And there we go. You're going to graph, and then you're going to solve just like the note said. So you can ask our substitute for any questions that you have, but I think you should be able to do this if you have your notes. And it should, remember, you should have these side by side when you're doing your problems. Perfect. Good luck. Thank you.